Dan Reeves. He said, hey, John, here's the keys. You drive. And by doing so, he's given John Elway new life. Elway told us yesterday he hasn't had so much fun in the last 5 years. So it'll be important to see if Elway can drive today against this tough Raider defense.
Well, John Elway has not called his own plays since he was a high school quarterback right here in the Southern California area, in the LA area, in San Fernando Valley at Granada Hills High School. And, of course, calling plays that are put together, the script and the package from offensive coordinator Mike Shanahan. Now, the Raiders feel they may have a little bit of a hint of what Shanahan wants to do because he's their former head coach.
Well, John Elway has worked so much with Shanahan over the last year and a half that he feels that the Raiders feel like they have an idea of what Elway will do because of Shanahan. But ultimately, John Elway is the one that's going to be driving the ball and throwing the ball and calling his own shots with the substitutions and the play selection.
The Broncos won the opening toss, so Jeff Jaeger, very efficient place kicker for the Los Angeles Raiders, will kick it to the twosome of Derek Russell to your left and Alton Montgomery to your right. Don't forget, the Broncos are missing number 20, Kevin Clark, on those kickoff returns. He led the NFL in kickoff returns last year at 25 yards per try. And Jaeger hangs up a high one. They'll have to hustle to get to it. It's dropped by Montgomery, picked up very alertly by Russell, and a real break for Denver on a poor kick by Jeff Jaeger. But it plays into the hands of the LA Raiders because there's no return at all. They almost create a turnover. A.J. Jimmers
against the Raiders on kick coverage. They get down very, very quickly.
1st and 10. Denver at their own 21-yard line. They scored 45 points last week in the opening win over the Cincinnati Bengals. And Elway, calling his own plays, is ready to dump it off. It's complete to the running back, Gaston Green, the former UCLA Bruin. Gets 7 up to the 28 on a play that looked like it didn't go for much, but still very effective. 7 yards. The starting lineup, Keith Kartz, the man in the middle. The experience over on the right side, Ken Lanier making a start, a 100th consecutive start in his 11th year. The right tackle for Denver. Green and Perriman, the starting backfield. Michael Young and Mark Jackson, the wide receivers, with Clarence Kay back at the tight end spot. 2nd and short, 2nd and 3. The Broncos at their own 28-yard line. It's Robert Perriman, the Plan B signing from the New England Patriots, who takes it across the 28 to the 29. So they'll be a couple of yards short of the first down. Ricky Ellerson, the middle linebacker, making that stop. This defense last week certainly had problems against the run and shoot of the Houston Oilers. Howie Long, Bob Golick, Scott Davis, and Greg Townsend up front. A lot of experience, plenty of years there. Moss, Ellison, and Benson, the linebackers. McDaniel, Washington, Lott, and Land in the secondaries. Land gets the start due to the injury to number 33, Eddie Anderson. He's missed the last couple of days of practice, but Eddie Anderson now has come into the game for the first time. The give out of the backfield, nothing doing for Greg Lewis, the rookie from Washington. So the Raiders hold 3 and out, and they're ready to get the ball.
I think this is one of the things that the Raiders had to do. They had to stop the Broncos on the opening drive to be effective today. Here Townsend, number 93, coming from the left, splits a double team and gets upfield, makes a big play to get the Broncos stopped on 3rd and 3.
So Greg Townsend, the sack specialist for the Los Angeles Raiders over the last few seasons, coming up with the big play on the run. And now Mike Horan punting it away for the Denver Broncos. Back to Tim Brown. Horan with a 42.2-yard average. And the '89 Heisman Trophy winner waiting for the wobbler. He'll take it back at the Raider 27. And can he get outside? Nifty work by Brown. And good field position for the Raiders on their first series of the afternoon. Steve Sewell got down last week. It seemed like they did it in the second half when the game was already out of control. Now they've got it 1st and 10. Roger Craig slamming it up the middle. Driving for 3 up to the 44. And we'd like to welcome those of you that have been watching the Cleveland-New England Patriots game where the Browns beat the Patriots 20-0. I'm Joel Myers along with Dan Hampton. We're at the Coliseum in Los Angeles where 2 bitter old AFC West rivals get together. The Denver Broncos and the LA Raiders. 2 teams that know each other quite well. Dan Reeves, the head coach for the Broncos since 1981. Has he mellowed? Well, some of the players like Michael Young feel he has. Art Shell in his 3rd season, his 2nd full season as the head coach of the Raiders. Roger Craig getting his number called often and early. 2 straight running plays to number 22 for 2 yards up to the 46, where it's going to bring up 3rd and 5. Well, Art Shell had concerns about Roger Craig. coming into camp about his explosiveness, his explosion off the ball. No concerns, though, after he saw him run a couple of times during the preseason. Great group up front for the Los Angeles Raiders. A very big group, especially the three in the middle, Wisniewski, Mosbar, and Montoya. And Schrader joined in the backfield by Craig, who gets the start for the injured Marcus Allen, Steve Smith, the fullback, Galt Fernandez, the wideouts, and Ethan Horton, the converted running back out of North Carolina, at the tight end position. So the first third down of the day for the Raiders, 3rd and 5 with flags into the air. Pressure coming on Schrader. He's hit. He's on his way down. It's the rookie from Nebraska, Mike Kroll, who does so well when they go to their nickel package.
Well, Mike Kroll is a guy that the Broncos love. He gives them that dimension on the outside rush that they haven't had in a while.
Dick Kantak, our referee today.
Looks like offense went a little bit early, a little procedure.
Illegal formation on the offense. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
So 3 snaps and a punt for each offensive unit now. And Jess Gossett will punt it away for the Raiders. Ricky Nattiel waiting back for Denver at his own 15-yard line. So impressive stance by the 2 defensive units. Almost reminds you of what happened here opening Sunday of the season last year. The Raiders beat the Broncos 14-9. Coliseum was like a sauna that day. Nattiel taking it from the 11. A little room to work with. And he makes his way back to the 20-yard line for a return of 9 yards, brought down by the running back Steve Smith. Our first look was losing late in that game. And on their way to an 0-2 start. Perriman and Gaston Green in the backfield. 1st and 10 for the 20. The pitch for Gaston Green. Had to adjust it as knifing through. Ronnie Lott busted the play up about 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Ronnie is one of the guys that, you know, that's how he made his name in this league, was forcing the pitch. He still does it so well.
More scores. Minnesota coming from behind. And then overtaking Atlanta finally as the Falcons were down 20-12, getting a late score. Cleveland evening their record, giving Bill Belichick his first win. That's the surprise on the bottom. I was talking about Green Bay now. Just about 0-2, losing late. And no scores from the late starting games out here on the West Coast. 10-10 left in the first 15 minutes of play. John Elway with time for Gaston Green. And Green with a gain to the 25, close to the 26. It'll bring up 3rd and 4. Gaston Green told us yesterday it's been a great move to Denver. First time he has left home. He went to Gardena High School right here in the Los Angeles area, then on to UCLA, a first-round draft choice of the Los Angeles Rams. He said it's been a very, very healthy experience.
Well, I think anytime you get a guy that has a chance to go someplace else and do something positive. He was with the Rams for a number of years and never really given a chance. So now he has a chance to be a focal point for the Broncos, and he's answered the bell so well this past week.
3rd and 4 from the 26. Elway has a man, Shannon Sharp. It's complete into Raider territory. Down inside the 40 to the 38-yard line. Shannon Sharp only caught 2 during the preseason. Then he catches 3 in the opener last week and an explosive start today. Sterling Sharp, the gifted wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers.
He's bigger than Sterling, but he runs an awful lot like Sterling. Very fast for as big man as he is.
Elway on 1st and 10 from the 38. The delay, counter delay did not work. And it's a loss of a couple back at the 40-yard line. Greg Townsend knifing through to make the hit. Townsend in his 9th year from TCU led the Raiders with 12.5 sacks. That was the 5th best total in the AFC last year. He is so quick off the ball.
Greg went to the Pro Bowl last year, and a lot of people say, well, you know, for a number of years, Howie Long was the guy that was making it all happen. Well, maybe now it's not all Howie. I think Townsend is one of the fine defensive linemen in the league, but he's a big part of this Raider defense. Comes up with big plays time and time again.
Green, the only one in the backfield, on 2nd and a dozen from the 40. Elway, as the pocket holds up. Now it collapses, and he's on his way down. Winston Moss, the Plan B signing from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, getting the sack for Los Angeles.
With a guy like Elway, you've got to have someone to account for him. Here you see just a straight 4-man rush. They get up the field. Right there, Elway could break and run. But Moss, number 99, was assigned to get Elway wherever he goes when he breaks out of the pocket. Elway is such a great quarterback in the pocket, but he may be one of the very best when he gets out of the pocket. There, the Raiders didn't give him a chance to make anything happen. Moss comes up, traps him.
It's his first sack as a Raider, and that looked like the old spy play. Winston Moss was the spy on 2nd and long.
His job, get Elway.
Out of the shotgun, third, and better than 15 for the Broncos. Elway has a man, but throws it wide of his intended target, the rookie Derek Russell from Arkansas. So a punting situation after that long completion of 37 yards for Shannon Sharp, but they stall once again for we.
Well, they only scored 50 points in the preseason, and of course last week 45, almost a block.
They almost get to it as it sails over the head of Tim Brown,
Great
and it's
play.
down inside the 5-yard line. Lilo Lang, the reserve defensive back, another former Washington Husky in his second year, getting down there to help out tight end set. They announced Steve Wright as an extra tight end in the formation for Los Angeles. Craig and Smith in the backfield with Ethan Horton in motion on 1st and 10. Roger Craig, Warren Powers meeting us. He dives across the middle. Gets a couple, little breathing room. Well, now the Raiders are going to have an opportunity to do what they told us yesterday. Art Shell says we're the type of team that needs to pound the ball, and then go deep to try to stretch the defense a little.
Well, Joel, the Raiders have been using such a successful formula for so long. Everyone knows what they want to do. They want to pound it, and when you get scared of the 6- and 8-yard runs, they'll raise up and throw a bomb. But Art Shell said they didn't want to start in the hole by getting behind or getting down and deep in their own territory.
They're in the eye. Craig gets it this time. Warren Powers wrapping him up once again across the 5 out to the 7-yard line. So Powers playing off the blocks nicely now.
Powers is
third year.
Powers is one of the guys that Reeves feels he has to have stay healthy and be effective for 16 games for him. Powers getting off, taking on the tackle, Steve Wright for the Raiders. Two-gapping, what we mean by two-gapping is if the ball's inside, you put your head inside in that gap. If it's outside, you put your head outside. That's the hardest job a defensive lineman can have, is two-gapping. Their Powers did it like his clinic. Looked excellent.
So now a critical third down deep in their own territory. It's early, but they need some breathing room. 6:15 left in the first 15 minutes of play. No score at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. And Schrader will use one of his first half timeouts. They're looking at third and
Blocks, catches, runs. He'll drive the bus. He'll do anything you ask him to do.
3rd and 4 for the Raiders, their own 7-yard line. Mervin Fernandez, the motion man. Play action. The reception by Smith, and he's short of the first down.
No.
He's bumped out of bounds just short of the 11. I believe maybe by the length of the football, he has missed that first down marker.
Boy, if he gets his first down, Joel, he'll have earned his check already today. This is what you call a professional athlete doing his job. Knowing where the marker is and trying to get as much as he can before his momentum carries him out of bounds.
Braxton applying the hit, the cornerback for the Denver Broncos. What a bonus now to have Braxton back. He missed almost all of last year with a major knee injury. And also Wyman Henderson. They didn't have most of their 2 corners for most of the season, the Denver Broncos.
Well, Wade Phillips says for them to be a good defense, they have to stay healthy. And last year, losing so much with their cornerbacks going down, losing some defensive linemen, they felt like they could have a great defense, but they can't have anybody go in the tub. They got to keep everybody on the field.
And you know about that with the down lineman, Wade Phillips.
Hopefully not today or anytime, but with the Raiders pounding and pounding and pounding, that could lead to danger for the Denver Broncos. So they've got to get some big people in there.
The speed man out of Florida, Ricky Nattiel, in his 5th season, a first-round pick back in '87. Waiting for the line drive spiral. Headed towards the sideline. Nattiel, can he stay in? No, he steps out of bounds. So another good punt by Jeff Gossett. First one 48. That last one 52 yards with no return. And it's at the 38-yard line where it's 1st and 10 for the Broncos. Stan Reeves, he may be looked back upon this year if things turn into it.
Well, the game is ultimately played by people. It's nice to see a coach letting a person make the calls.
Gaston Green on the sweep play. Howie Long trying to spin him down. He slips that tackle with a flag down to the play.
They may try to get Howie on a face mask. I think he just more or less slapped him in the head, kind of a wake-up call.
You never did that, though. A gain of 4 on the carry.
Not as far as you know, Joel.
You've already tried a couple of blind side hits on me this year. What are you talking about?
Well, Howie Long is a guy that wanted to play this game on Wednesday.
Face mask, defense, number 75, 5-yard penalty, repeat.
Howie is one of those guys that he's a throwback. You know, he's the only guy the Raiders have from the days up in Oakland, and he was embarrassed about last week, so he was ready to go this week on Wednesday.
There's only 3 dressed out today. Marcus Allen would have been a fourth that were on that '83 Super Bowl winning team. Elway on the play action. First down. He's throwing and it's complete. He's got the tight end Reggie Johnson, the rookie from Florida State. So John Elway calls the right one once again all the way to the 21-yard line, close to the 22 actually.
Elway calling the shots. He loves to stretch a defense. Now he knows he's going to take a shot from time to time. Here you'll see Townsend leveling. But the thing about Elway, he'll take that shot to be able to get the ball deep. That's what you got to have in a quarterback, a guy that will roll the dice from time to time, take a shot just to give his offense a chance to score.
Certainly a glamorous position quarterback, isn't it, Dan? Have to deal with guys like you. Gaston Green on the carry across the 20.
The game, but Robinson seemed to always want a bigger guy, a guy that could pound between the tackles, and Gaston never really got a chance, and he's loving it in Denver.
No score with exactly 4 minutes left in the first 15 minutes of play. 2nd and 7, Elway with time. And he wanted to go for Ricky Natil down the sideline, but he was tangled up with Lionel Washington. So now it'll bring up 3rd and long. Steelers. There's no score so far between the Raiders and the Denver Broncos as we welcome you to Southern California on a beautiful day. Game time temperature right around 80 degrees. John Elway throwing on 3rd and 7. A bullet. Michael Young's got it to the marker. I believe he's got the first down at the 11-yard line. Yes. An acrobatic grab.
One of the things we wanted to watch today is how much pressure can the Raiders put on Elway. Now they've got to him a few times already, but here you see Howie Long in the middle, go inside. Harrison, the big rookie, comes around. Great protection by the Broncos line, and that's one thing they didn't have in the preseason is they didn't have a healthy offensive line. Now for the first time, they feel like they've got, you know, all the cards in their hand. They can play the cards they want and make whatever they want trump.
You felt when John Elway saw 6 in the box, 6 up front, that he'd be going to the pass most of the time.
Well, that's what he said yesterday, and I think that's going to be part of the way the game unfolds is how much the Raiders will put 6 in.
Nothing doing for Gaston Green. A yard at the most on the carry to the 10-yard line. So it'll bring up 2nd and 9.
We're talking there to stop the run. They will run, but if they got a bunch, they'll try to get outside.
They're in their 4 wide-out alignment now. It gave the Raiders so many problems last week against Houston. Elway is on the quarterback draw. He called his own number, and Greg Townsend read it perfectly. He slid off his block and penetrated to the middle.
You'll see by the grin of Greg Townsend, he knows that's like something falling into his lap. They were running a stunt. Here you'll see Davis get upfield, number 70 on the right side, 93. Townsend comes underneath. That's what you call a tackle twist. Tackle up the gap. Townsend, 93, takes one step, draws the tackle, goes inside.
To Darrell Hamilton, the left tackle, number 69, never laid a hand on Greg Townsend.
Expecting him to get upfield, he throws his weight back. Townsend going inside, making a big play.
A loss of 3 back to the 13. Which brings up 3rd and 12. They can get a first down just inside the 1. Elway with time, pocket holds up, fires it, it's complete, but well short of the first down for Michael Young. At the 5-yard line. Michael's got a couple of receptions now. The former UCLA Bruin, another former Los Angeles Ram, who was a Plan B signing by Denver because he felt that he did not get the opportunity in the Rams offense with Ernie Zampese.
Young said last week he may have been as nervous as he's ever been before a game, knowing that he had to perform well and the Bronco offense that had sputtered all preseason, they had to do well. So it was a great story for Young to catch that touchdown pass and take a lot of that pressure off him.
Treadwell trying a 22-yard field goal on the hold of Gary Kubiak. He hit the upright once last week. Splits the uprights for our first points of the contest today. 90 seconds, just about 90 seconds left in the first 15 minutes of play. Let's go. And welcome back to the Coliseum. Joel Myers along with Dan Hampton. I don't want it, you take it. Okay, Sam Grady will from the goal line to the return after the field goal by Treadwell. And Grady's going nowhere. Good kick coverage as they get that former silver medalist from the '84 Olympics, Grady, at the 21-yard line. We'll be right back to the Coliseum. Fence and their coordinator Wade Phillips, 93 to a -2 at the outset of the contest. A minute 19 left in the first quarter. A 3-0 Denver lead. Don't forget, last week Denver held Cincinnati to only 22 yards on 12 first down rushing plays. Raiders want to pound it. Can they do it? Play action for Roger Craig as Schrader hangs on to it. Pressure coming, and he's on his way down. Mecklenburg was back there. Also getting in there, the nose tackle, Greg Cragen, and basically the defensive front 3 as a group.
The Raiders go with a 2 tight end set and a Brown look in the backfield. They're saying, hey, we're going to run the ball. Here you'll see number 77 right in the middle of your screen. This is a great job of reading the bootleg by Schrader. Mecklenburg smelt it. Last week, he makes a big play against Boomer Esiason on a very similar play, reading a certain set and getting outside, forcing a fumble. Mecklenburg will not be fooled. He's one of the smartest defensive players in the entire NFL.
Loss of 5, 2nd and 15 for the Raiders back to their own 16. Now they do run it with Roger Craig. Craig bounced on his way to the outside. And the former USC Trojan Dennis Smith, the first one there, and it's going to be an emotional day for the Denver Broncos strong safety. He's already announced that this will be his final season, so he's making his last appearance in the building, the stadium where he played his college ball as well.
Dennis Smith is probably going to leave a big mark on the game of football. He's one of those prototype safeties that USC has had an awful lot of, but he's got such great size. He's meant so much to this Denver defense for so long. It's going to be a sad day when he does go ahead and check it out that last time.
So when we come back, it's going to be a 3rd and long for Schrader and the LA Angels on a warm day in Southern California. Joel Myers along with Dan Hampton. It appears it's working once again. John Elway calling his own plays for the Broncos. Dan?
Well, John's been able to move the ball, and the Raider defense is playing pretty well, but John can't get it into the end zone. That's going to be the thing. Can he score against this Raider defense? Because they get very, very tough the closer you get to the goal line.
And for the 2nd straight start now, Jay Schrader getting off to a sluggish beginning for the Los Angeles Raiders. Don't forget what happened in Houston.
Well, the thing about Schrader, he's sometimes erratic. And what I mean by erratic is if he gets a lot of pressure early, making himself feel like he's got to make a big play, sometimes he makes a big play for the other team. So it'll be important to see how Schrader takes this pressure of not being able to get his offense untracked this early in the game.
They didn't put a lot of pressure on Schrader last year. In fact, the passing game, as you look at those first quarter numbers, the passing game for the Los Angeles Raiders last year finished 23rd in the NFL. They set things up nicely for Jay Schrader. They didn't put too much pressure on him. Right now, he's looking at 3rd and 11 on the first play of the 2nd quarter. 3 wide out alignment for Schrader. Pocket holding up nicely. He has time over the middle. It's dropped by Willie Gault. It would have been more than enough for a first down at the 38. And that's got to be grabbed by the wide receiver and a veteran at that.
Well, the thing about Willie Gault is everyone knows he has world-class speed, and a lot of times it seems like he runs away from contact a lot faster than he runs to it. Here, getting inside the hash marks, that's a place Willie Gault is not at his best. Hearing a little bit of footsteps, and believe me, there's some big footsteps out there at times. Willie has never been the guy that you really feel like you have to go to over the middle. He's a street guy that goes to the end zone, not over the middle.
Gossett getting ready for his 3rd punt of the day as the Raiders still have yet to pick the first down in this Bronco defensive unit. Ricky Nattiel waiting back, but he won't touch it. A very short wobbler that takes a Denver bounce and continues to roll inside the 40. And Gossett, the first one to get to it, to touch it near the 38-yard line. Only an 18-yard punt after 2 good ones by Jeff Gossett. So a big boost for the Broncos as they're ready to get it back offensively with flags down in the play around the 41-yard line. 19 seconds into the 2nd quarter.
Joe, I can't believe the punter covered his own kick on that play. I don't think I've ever seen.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness on the kicking team. Number 58, 15-yard penalty, first down.
A.J. Jimerson on the punt return special unit. So after all is said and done, the Raiders net only 3 yards on that punt.
Art Shell talked yesterday about how important it was to avoid mistakes and get his defense to making big plays again. He's gotten a little pressure, but hasn't done anything to really set the Broncos back at all.
Green, the single set. So they go with a double tight end formation on 1st and 10 at the LA 23. The swing to Green. He's wide open with a flag down the play. Normally where you see a holding call. Green is down at the 20-yard line. I believe it'll be all brought back, though, at a 10-yard mark-off against Denver.
Looks like Howie Long got a little chokehold by Waddell, the right guard. Howie Long coming off the ball very hard on that play. Waddell, because they like to watch Howie Long play in this league, and the officials are no different.
So 1st and 20. The ball back at the 33 of the Raiders. Same alignment. Now actually they're in a 4 wideout set. Going over the middle, it's Ricky Nattiel. And it's overthrown. Nattiel wide open around the 10. Elway just a little bit hurried on that attempt.
Always get to the quarterback, but it makes a lot of other things happen. for your defense.
It's only the third miss so far by John Elway. 96 yards and completions. On 2nd and 20, Elway scrambling, has Ricky Nattiel and fires it too long. And the double coverage, Washington was getting help from the safety coming over, Eddie Anderson.
And use all the time that's available.
4 wide out alignment again. Howie Long coming up to John Elway. Elway just wants to get some yards for the place kicker. And he's rolled under at the 30-yard line. Winston Moss in hot pursuit along with Howie Long, who flushed him out of the pocket.
Well, I think the
47-yard field goal try coming up for David Treadwell, his career best from 49 yards. Does he have enough? Yes, just barely. And the Broncos place kicker now 2 for 2 after hitting that 22-yarder in the first quarter. 13-11 remaining in the first half, and Denver leads it now by 6. 11 seconds left in the first half of play. All 6 points coming from the young man we just saw, David Treadwell, on 49 and 22-yard field goals. And bringing it back, it'll be Sam Brady once again for the Raiders. He finds room up the middle, and then he is thrown down very quickly by Charles Jimbry. Jimbry, a real find for that depth in the secondary for Wade Phillips, making the play on the special teams. We'll be right back to the Coliseum. Yesterday is Allo Casal, the Raider executive assistant, second in command to Al Davis for the Los Angeles Raiders. Made sure we all left practice with one. Roger Craig cutting it back against the grain. And one of his best runs so far, to give you an idea of how good it's been for the Denver defense thus far. A gain of a little bit more than 4 yards for Roger Craig, brought down by Michael Brooks and Simon Fletcher. And the Raiders with a new wrinkle, Dan, going with a no-huddle offense.
Well, he had to get this defense off balance. He's going to try to do something to stir him up. 2nd and 6. Craig with a huge hole, but it closes in a hurry. So he's short of the first down by about 1.5 yards.
Brought down by Carl Mecklenburg.
Mecklenburg and Craig in on that stop. Raiders are still trying to pick up their first down in the contest. You can see what they've done. They've started at their own 41, their own 1-yard line actually, and their own 21. Roger Craig stepping out of the tackle in the backfield, gets the first down. Michael Brooks had him about 3 or 4 yards behind the line, trying to play off the block of Steve Wisniewski. And Craig did that on his own. So Roger Craig, all-time pass reception leader in the NFL, out of the backfield as they continue to go with the hurry-up offense. 1st and 10 now. The ball to the Raiders' own 38. There's 3 yards on the carry. 11.5 minutes left in the first half. 6-0. The Broncos out on top. Craig the single set, a double tight end formation. They're trying to pound it at Denver now, doing a better job of it. Flags out of the play because there was a face mask. You can see the way Craig was spun down. They got a face mask on that one. Simon Fletcher in the stop.
You can see Craig's helmet has all kinds of stuff hanging out of it. Now, if they can't call that one, the officials better go down to lens crafters. He's going to have to come off and get his little bucket patched up.
Defense, number 73, 5-yard penalty, first down.
You'll see number 73 folding back underneath, getting more or less pulled down, and just kind of throws an arm out there trying to get a hold of something. He didn't even see that it was Rogers' head. And as you can see, getting some of that stuffing out of the pillow. Oh.
And for the first time today, the Raiders have it in Denver territory at the Bronco 48. Schrader's, the pocket holds up, dumps it off, and a little one. It's complete. And a good move by Ethan Horton, the tight end, on the linebacker to get 5 extra yards down to the 41-yard line near the 40. Let's check once again with that Fram 10-minute ticker. San Francisco to getting their first points of the first half on a field goal. The New York Jets leading at Seattle. Those are the late starts this afternoon. Warm day at the Coliseum. You don't want to have your defense on the field too long today. 2nd and short. 2nd and a little bit more than 2 for Schrader, who's throwing. He has time. Throws into traffic, in and out of the hands of Ethan Horton, but the quarterback Braxton may have gotten his hand on the ball.
Their Schrader had a little bit of time. He looked to the left, got back to his right side, threw it to his tight end. Here, you'll see Fletcher coming around the back door, 73, double spin move. Oh, that's pretty foxy. Schrader feeling a little bit of heat, tried to gun it into double coverage.
So now 3rd and short. Roger Craig gets the call and gets the first down inside the 37 to the 36-yard line.
You got to think that Roger Craig being in a Raiders shoot is one of the great things that happened for the Los Angeles Raiders this year, because, you know, San Francisco more or less said, hey, somebody wants him, take him. You know, we'd like to have him, but take him if you want him. You got to think Art Shell loves the fact that if Marcus Allen goes down, he's got a guy like Roger Craig he can plug in and keep this offense rolling.
If Craig goes down, though, they've got big problems. They don't have Greg Bell anymore. Nick Bell, rookie draft choice out of Iowa, is also hurt. He's not available until week 4, and Craig takes a pop from Steve Atwater, who does that quite well. 1st and 10, a carry close to 6 yards for Roger Craig. Well, this was the game plan for the Los Angeles Raiders going in. Pound it between the 2 tackles.
Well, if they can get the Denver safeties to make every play, they're doing a great job up front. Here you'll see number 27, Atwater, make a good decision on that offensive lineman and do his impersonation of a Scud missile attack. He popped Craig.
Staying away from Reggie McElroy, who strong to the left side now with Horton in motion. They go to the left side with Roger Craig on 2nd and 4, following his blocking close to the first down. Picked down by Michael Brooks. This try started way back at the LA 27, and they do have another first down. Their most impressive drive of the day comes in a hurry-up offense.
We're talking with Aldo Cassell. He said, you know, a guy like Roger Craig is so valuable, but we need to make sure we keep him healthy. Here, Horton turns it upfield, trying to get back to the safety on Atwater. Atwater is so strong that those guys have to sell out the blocking. They can't screen him. Atwater makes 2 good decisions in a row.
It's at the 26, 1st and 10, first run of the day for Napoleon McCallum, and he doesn't gain a thing. Warren Bowers, the first one, with Dennis Smith coming up from the strong safety spot in the run support.
Well, that kind of funny about Dennis Smith. I think he's still at the top of his game. There you see him coming up, forcing with a linebacker type of an approach. I can't see him getting out. He's still playing so well. He means an awful lot to this defense.
Single set is Roger Craig taking over for McCallum. He's got it on the counter delay, and nothing doing. Good read by the defensive front 7, and also the secondary coming up on the run to the near side. It's inside the 25, down to the 24, where it's going to bring up 3rd and 8.
On that counter, what we mean by that is both guards pulling out to lead the running back around a corner, left or right. One of the main jobs is the tackle to the side of the play has to make sure that he walls everybody off. Graves not being able to do that on that play.
So 3rd and 8. Schrader has a man wide open. Does Fernandez hang on? Yes, I believe so at the 9-yard line, just barely hanging on. Braxton on the coverage had fallen down.
Schrader standing tall in the pocket, gets Fernandez on about a 15-yard out. Could be a possible possession. It could be questionable about possession here. Fernandez getting the ball back in, but is his knee out? You know, John Madden said,
As a completed pass on the field, the play is being reviewed by instant replay.
John Madden once said, 1 knee equals 2 feet. If that 1 knee is out, he's out of bounds. This is the one that will tell everyone whether or not he did have possession. The question is, does he have possession now, and is his knee out of bounds, out of the field of play? I guess that's why those officials make all that big money.
Boy, you're really on top of the situation, partner.
This is a good angle to see. He has possession.
He brings it in,
Review,
but
play stands as called.
yes,
I think it's one of those tie goes to the runners.
it's down to the 9-yard line, where it's 1st and goal, but an opportunity for the Raiders to take the lead with their first points of the day. Craig again in that single set. This all started when they went to the no-huddle offense, throwing a curveball to the Denver defense. Craig on the carry, and what a belt applied by Dennis Smith. Felt it up here. Well, it looked like it was a huge hole. It closed in a hurry.
If you're a safety and you want to play in the NFL, this is all you have to do to force a run. Number 49, Dennis Smith. Got to cut that out of the film and kind of put that in a demonstration for young people that want to learn how to tackle. That was, you can't, I mean, that's a 10. That's all you can say.
And goal at the 7-yard line. Play action. Pressure coming on Schrader. Unfortunately for Schrader, he just threw the ball at the feet of Ethan Horton. Coverage there by Smith, but great pressure on the quarterback created that.
Schrader feeling some heat, getting out to the right. Smith, number 49, more or less shattering Horton.
And on the run, Jay Schrader could never really plant and throw the ball.
Well, not only that, but it was tipped by Mecklenburg. Trying to gun it in. Schrader is best when he sets in that pocket and has time. He's not the John Elway that can get outside and create something.
Good point, because Elway's almost a better quarterback when he's rolling around and moving around out of the pocket.
He's great in the pocket, super out of it.
3rd and goal at the 7. Will they have to settle for 3? Flags into the air. Was there too much time taken by Jay Schrader in the offense? It may have been delay of game. And this is one of the greatest arguments for quarterback in calling his own plays. He doesn't have to keep looking at the clock, waiting for a play to be messengered in.
Delay offense.
You hardly ever have to fight the clock. You can more or less fight the defense by itself and not have the clock against you too.
And John added that he gets to look at the secondary. The package is right away. 3rd and goal from back at the 12 for Schrader. With Tim Brown going in motion. And the Raiders get on the board. Plenty of time for Schrader, throwing underneath and low. You have to wonder about that pass selection. Double coverage over there on Tim Brown. Great work by the Denver defense, but the choice by Jay Schrader has to be questioned.
Well, sometimes Jay Schrader thinks the Broncos are playing with 13 and 14 men. He's been throwing into double coverage, and now you can't cover everyone with 2 guys. But
young man's in his 4th year at the University of Washington. The exchange is a clean one. And the kick is a good one. So the Raiders get their first points of the day from the right leg of Jeff Jager. And it's a 3-point game with the Broncos out on top. Sunny day in L.A. A beautiful day of the Coliseum. The Denver Broncos with a 6-3 lead over the L.A. Raiders. It seems like whenever these two teams get together, it's a close affair. And 9 of the last 14 decided by 3 or less. Up until 1977, the L.A. Raiders owned this series. And, of course, up until 77, they were the Oakland Raiders. But Denver's really evened things out since that point, and especially since Dan Reeves took over as the head coach back in 1981. Out in Montgomery, who will it be? Montgomery or Russell? Russell took it away, and that really cost. That indecision by the two. Neither one's back there helping out the other with a lead block. So Russell barely gets it back to the 10-yard line where he's brought down by Derek Prudhomme. Broncos have it back when we return, but deep in their own territory. It goes back to communication between the two, and they've got to talk to each other back there. 1st and 10 for the Broncos with Green in the backfield. They're at their own 10-yard line. Play action for Elway. He's got a wide side of the field, and it's complete. No, dropped. His target was Mark Jackson. Rarely will Jackson drop one like that, but he let it come in through his hands to his shoulder pad area. David Treadwell at one point with a minute left in the 1st quarter. The Broncos had outgained the Raiders 98 yards to -3. 2nd and 10 from the 10-yard line. Delay to Gaston Green. Can he get out of the backfield? Just barely. Only a couple of yards just past the 12. Bringing up a 3rd and 8. Checking once again with the Fram 10 minutes. We'll come back to the Fram 10-minute ticker after this 3rd and 8 play. For the Broncos at their own 12-yard line. 4 wide receivers set. Shannon Sharp in motion. And moving the pocket is John Elway. He's got plenty of time. Will he throw back the other way? No, he's got a man right in front of him, and it's complete for the 1st down.
Elway.
It's Ricky Nattiel.
Elway is a magician on this play. You'll have to see number 94 for the Raiders, Anthony Smith, their big defensive tackle, coming in on a 3rd down pass rushing situation. He'll split the gap. You'll see right to your left of Elway. He splits it on a twist. Elway just runs away from him, gets outside, buys time. His offensive linemen come out, try to surround him, keep the war party off of him. He buys enough time to go ahead and make some positive yardage.
Yeah, that was just a love tap on Nattiel from Lionel Washington. He got up slowly. So a 1st and 10 out of a big hole. And Elway's throwing on 1st and 10. Going underneath, and it's wide with flags on the play. He's looking underneath for his rookie tight end, Reggie Johnson, out of Florida State. Well, John Elway hit 5 different receivers as it goes against the Broncos. 5 different receivers at least.
Elway and his guys now say, hey, we're going to make it a wide open game. Let's throw it and let's do what we have to do to move it.
And holding call on Ken Lanier makes it 1st and 20. Back at the 17-yard line. They set up the screen for Green. Waits for blocks. Out across the 20. A nice move by Green just to get to the 22-yard line and be patient enough to wait for the block.
Well, the Raider defense seems to be getting some more pressure, and that's the best way to stop a defensive line from rushing the quarterback. Running draws and screens. Howie Long just drew a holding call on Lanier. Here Scott Davis breaks free, but the Broncos are ahead of the game, running a middle screen, letting the linemen sift back, block on the safeties and linebackers. Green getting some good yards.
Aaron Wallace catching up with the ball carrier. And it brings up a 2nd and long, 2nd and 14. A 6-yard completion to Green. Short drop, Elway dodging it, and he can't get away from Greg Townsend. Now, Scott Davis was the one who really forced him early and broke up the play.
You know, a lot of times people think, well, this guy's got 14 sacks. He's, you know, a great pass rusher. A lot of times that's a misleading stat. Davis, number 70, coming from the right defensive tackle, he puts a spin move on the guard, forces Elway up out of decision-making position, and where he's just scrambling. Then Townsend goes ahead and more or less sops up some gravy. Townsend gets a sack, but Scott Davis gets the pat on the back from the coaches.
In my estimation, it should be a half a sack for Davis and a half for Townsend. It won't work that way, I know.
No, they don't.
Sack brings up a 3rd and 20 once again for Elway out of the shotgun deep in his own territory. He's flushed out of the pocket. And he's got a man downfield as the ball hits the back of Lionel Washington. He wanted to go to Derek Russell, a rookie from Arkansas. But the ball hung up just a little bit too long.
Well, Washington is a very aggressive guy. Very athletic, gets up, jams him, knowing he's got the safety Anderson deep in a nickel package. There, he just keeps running, turns back at the appropriate time. That way he doesn't get that that defensive interference call. That's great defense by the Raiders. Good collapse of the pocket, good solid coverage.
So they could never really get out of the hole after Lanier was called on the holding penalty in the 10-yard mark-off. Moran, the left-footed one, sending out a low wobbler. Tim Brown will stay away from it. The Raiders will still get super field position when we come back. They'll have it at their own 43-yard line. And the Broncos continue to cling to that 6-3 lead with 3:04 left in the first half. To the Broncos offense and doing a great job once again early. Only 6 points on the board, though. 116 yards on his 8 completions. A sputtering start, though, for Jay Schrader and the Raider offense. They feel fortunate, obviously, to be down by only 3. Completing only 3 of 7. Roger Craig the single set. They've got outstanding field position to start the drive. 1st and 10 at their own 43-yard line. Craig almost wrapped up by Fletcher, breaks the tackle and gets a little bit more than 3, almost 4 yards. But Fletcher slowed him down to the backfield.
The Raiders thinking they're going to have to go ahead and stick to their knitting. They're going to try to run the ball right at him. Here you see a full block with Montoya coming up the middle, Wisniewski getting up there. The thing about the Broncos is they're not that big, but they're tough and they swarm. You can't account for everything.
Craig tries the other side. Nothing doing. Simon Fletcher there along with Ron Holmes.
On that quick little inside gut play, you saw 4 Broncos make the tackle. The Raiders are not sustaining their blocks. They've got to be able to sustain those guys. They're smaller and quicker, and a lot of times they can sift and slip around those big offensive linemen. For this running game to work, they've got to maintain the blocks.
15 carries, a total of 55 yards now for Roger Craig, and that will be the final play as we have reached the 2-minute warning at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. So, a slugfest between 2 AFC West rivals, what we basically expected, a low-scoring tight affair. In London, not much in the passing department, and while we were away, you were talking about the fact that they really haven't tried to go downfield yet, Dan.
Well, you know, the Raiders have always talked about their vertical passing game. That is not only throwing deep, but throwing deep when they want to. As to here, all they've tried is Willie Gault on a quick inside slant, and Fernandez out on an out. They've got to throw the ball deep to stretch these guys off the line of scrimmage.
Big third down for the Raiders. They started with it their own 43-yard line. They're looking at 3rd and 7 from the 46. Pressure coming up the middle. Schrader's going down. Mecklenburg's got him. So Dan's Reeves defense and coordinator Wade Phillips pleased with this development.
Mecklenburg on a stunt on the outside, coming upfield, looping under, much like Townsend got the sack earlier. Now,
able to translate it into that many points. Only 2 field goals from David Treadwell. Last punt by Jeff Gossett, only 18 yards. And after a 15-yard penalty, it was only a net of 3 yards. This time they're coming. And Gossett is hit. A roughing penalty coming up, and the ball is fumbled by Natillo. Is it covered by the Raiders' Elvis Patterson? I believe so, yes. The Raiders will have it. It looked like Montgomery was the one who roughed the punter, Jeff Gossett.
Art Shell talked yesterday about how they have to have 4 or 5 big plays. Here, he gets 2 on the same play. Now, that's not real smart. You've got to give that punter a chance to land and protect himself. You can get off of that. Now, just a question of great coverage, diverting the attention and not getting his eyes back on the ball. Now, Gossett here, I think he's trying out for a screen test. Yeah, I think he's going to be over at Warner Brothers here on Monday morning.
Schrader down the middle. His man stumbled and fell down. You wanted Ethan Horton between the hash marks. It'll bring up 2nd and 10 at the 18-yard line. Steve Atwater, the closest one as it turned out to the ball. Raiders fortunate there wasn't a pick and interception on that play. So Jeff Gossett making sure that the yellow was apparent to everybody on the field. There's 1 minute and 41 seconds left in the first half. There's a problem with the game clock right now.
He could be the leading man in Los Angeles. Underneath, and try to get it in and burn the clock at the same time.
2 timeouts remaining for Schrader and the Raiders, 2 as well for the Broncos. Between the 18 and 19-yard lines, where it's 2nd and 10. Delay to Craig. Warren Powers has him by the jersey and won't let go.
Warren Powers is a guy that Phillips, the coordinator on defense, loves. He says we haven't had a guy that can control the line like this in quite some time. Powers, number 91, you'll see more or less jamming into his offensive tackle blocker, coming off inside, falls off, gets Roger Craig down. Very, very big, very tenacious in there. He likes the way he wants to get better each and every week.
Offensively, though, another disappointing first half for Art Shell to your left and Terry Robisky to your right, the offensive coordinator, and Marcus Allen. You can see he's making suggestions on the sideline about play calling. 1 minute left and counting. Roger Craig trying to bounce his way to the outside. He's way short the first down on 3rd and 10. The extra defensive back, Randy Robbins, making the hit. In his 8th year from Arizona. Very versatile player that can play just about any position in the secondary for the Broncos. So they'll try to tie it as the place kicker, Jeff Jager, comes onto the field. Now do the Broncos stop the clock? It continues to run. So it appears now, and it's only a chip shot by NFL standards with 20 seconds, and the clock continues to roll. Left of the first half. And they will go into the halftime locker room tied, and now the Raiders will call a timeout. They've got one left.
Timeout. This is a 40-second timeout.
Dick, there's 10 seconds left in the first half, in case you don't know. Seconds left in the first 30 minutes of play. It is going to be a 32-yard attempt for Jeff Jager. He hit a 29-yarder. The only points of the day for Los Angeles. A 22-yarder and a 49-yarder by David Treadwell. Account for the Broncos. Here are the plays. That's a script for that particular game. Boy, he would probably love to have that at Stanford when he was in school. Jager with the 32-yard try, and it sails wide left, so that timeout by the Broncos pays off.
Well, I guess I got a little spraying on my face out of the pie pot there. You know, the thing about this is, you know, that's the oldest. That's, you know, I can't believe this. So, it looks like he feels he's made it. Now, put his hands up thinking he made it, and then, oh, no. Just like a putt, if you quit on a putt, sometimes you'll push it. He just quit on the kick.
So, the old trick pays off for the Denver Broncos. At one snap, and they are headed to the halftime locker room, with Denver maintaining that 3-point lead. So, we looked at it like
the other hand, Dan, was Archell almost too conservative in the first half because they didn't try to stretch that defense.
Well, we talked about this vertical passing game a few minutes ago and how they haven't been able to get the Broncos off the line of scrimmage.
Will give LA the ball for the first time in the second half. Sam Grady will bring it back, but they still couldn't do a thing with it. Grady on the return, trying to break it outside, but Steve Atwater got him with flags down right around the 19-yard line as well. And Atwater looked like the last form of containment on the near side.
Not only on defense, but Atwater's making his presence felt in the special teams, and that's the kind of guy he is. Wade Phillips says, if I had to have one guy, that would be him, because he's a bell cow, a leader, whatever you want to call him.
It is going against the Los Angeles Raiders return team.
Illegal block on turn number 35.
The ball 15, 16 yards down the field one time.
Roger Craig in the backfield, despite taking 4 stitches above his eye at halftime. He gets the call on first down. Trying to strip the ball away. He's got it out past the 13, the 14-yard line. A gain of 4 on 1st and 10, brought down by Warren Powers.
Craig, being mainly a running back today, he's caught 512 balls, the most in NFL history for a running back, and that's the thing. If you have to give up a Marcus Allen, you may be giving up a little bit as a running back. But with Roger Craig, you need to throw him the ball every once in a while because he's very, very dangerous when he catches it.
And that's exactly what he was hoping for going into the game. This time it's Steve Smith. Flags on the plays. He's met in the middle by Dennis Smith. Gets the 15. We're to bring up 3rd and 5, but you have to believe that flag is against the Los Angeles offensive line.
It looks like somebody I think it was probably somebody wrestling Mecklenburg to the ground, maybe Wisniewski. I don't want to convict him early.
So a couple of early penalties against the Raiders.
Holding. Offense. Penalize half the distance to the goal. Repeat the down. 2nd down.
Well, we will not find out who was in on that hold.
I think Wisniewski was doing the 2-step there with Mecklenburg getting caught. Like I said earlier, with Howie Long, Mecklenburg, these guys, officials, are going to watch because they're always around the ball.
The only time they started deep in their own territory was all the way back at the 1-yard line. Otherwise, pretty decent first half field position-wise for Los Angeles. Out of his own end zone, Schrader throwing on 2nd and long. Has Fernandez for a first down. Across the 30 to the 31, and finally they try to go 20, 25 yards downfield. That's good for 24 on the reception.
Fernandez is the guy the Raiders like to throw the ball to in the middle of the field. They like to stretch those safeties. Now you'll see Schrader fire the ball. Fernandez just running what you call a quick in. He's down there. He knows the ball will be delivered somewhere around the hash. Goes up, makes a nice grab, pulls off of Atwater, makes a move, making the safety miss him. That's exactly what they have to do. Get those safeties back off the line of scrimmage so they can run.
5 years with the Raiders now after 5 years in the Canadian Football League. Roger Craig breaking a tackle, enabling him to get close to 5 on the carry to the 35-yard line. Mecklenburg and Brooks making that hit. And into the contest for the first time today is the down lineman, Kenny Walker. Walker, the first deaf player to play in the NFL since Bonnie Sloan for the St. Louis Cardinals back in 1973. The rookie from Nebraska, talking to Wade Phillips before the start of today's game. He feels like Walker is going to be one of the biggest deals in the draft in the 8th round. Schrader throwing on 2nd and 5. And wisely gets out of bounds before Ron Holmes can get to him. He's out at the 33, losing a couple of yards on the scramble.
Looks like 91 Warren Powers is out of the game. Ron Holmes, a right end, goes to the left side. enabling Walker to come in, the rookie. That's the thing about these Raiders. You've got to have fresh troops at all times because they're just so big. Both offensive tackles for the Raiders, well over 300 pounds, or interior people close to it. You've got to have fresh horses.
3 wide receivers in there for Los Angeles. As Galton Fernandez are joined by Tim Brown on 3rd and just about 8. He has to step up with Fletcher coming from the outside. Schrader will run for the first down. Sliding down with a first down to the 45-yard line. Now that, a very good decision by Jay Schrader. Nothing available downfield, a 12-yard scamper.
That's the thing for Schrader. He can afford the bad plays. Getting back here, just a pocket protection. Max Montoya slamming the nose guard down, creating a big gap for Schrader to get upfield, view the field, and once he sees everyone's covered, goes ahead and tries to make something out of it.
Schrader never known as a great scrambler or a quarterback that possesses great speed, but he has quick feet. He is fairly mobile. Got to the 44-yard line where it's 1st and 10. Horton setting up.
Ron Holmes is saying that Steve Wright, the right tackle, flinched, moved. If the officials don't catch it, don't touch him. You'll be the guilty one.
You know all the lines. Schrader came through with a big 3rd down play when it was 3rd and close to 8 with a 12-yard run. They're in the eye with Craig behind Steve Smith. Craig following the block of Steve Smith, turning the corner, flags on the play, the ball on the ground. Craig alertly getting back to it, but a flag way back in the trenches.
When you can turn the corner on the Denver Broncos, either you have dominated somebody or someone's holding. Do his job by letting Krull, the outside linebacker, get away from him. He more or less got run over while he's trying to drag Krull down on top of him.
6th penalty against the Raiders, their 3rd already in the second half. 10:40 left in the 3rd quarter. A 6-3 Bronco lead. And now 1st and 15 back at the 39-yard line. Same twosome into the backfield for Los Angeles, Smith and Craig.
Gonna throw it.
Will Schrader look in the direction of Roger Craig? No. It's to Ethan Horton, the tight end, who's tripped up by Michael Brooks. But he gets 7 on the reception. Out to the 47-yard line.
Horton getting a reprieve from the governor, being able to try to get some of the yardage that he had cost his offensive players on that play.
This Denver defense did a great job against Boomer Esiason of the Bengal offense last week. Very, very good job in the first half against the Raider offensive unit. But now the Raiders starting to move the ball on their first drive of the second half. Looking at a 2nd and 7. The ball to the 47-yard line. And plenty of time for Jay Schrader to find Ethan Horton for the first down.
Wade Phillips talked about how he only has 4 defensive linemen to play today. What you're seeing is finally now in the 3rd quarter, those guys, their energizers are running down. You'll watch them, they're getting up high. They're just ramming into the offensive lineman, not getting any penetration, not causing any problems for Schrader. Schrader can view the entire field, take 4 or 5 seconds for someone to uncover, firing the ball to an open receiver like that with no pressure. I could do that sometimes. Not all the time, Joe, but sometimes.
Looking at the Hurts 10-minute ticker. San Francisco by 3 at halftime. And Seattle, losing by 3 early, is on top by 10 now. 1st and 10 give to Roger Craig, going nowhere. And Kenny Walker helping out on that hit. 6'3", 260-pounder. The pops, the hits. Now, the way it was for Kenny Walker on that play. High.
Walker took Roy Graves and body slammed him and got up the field and made a super play.
And Kenny Walker, the deaf rookie out of the University of Nebraska, 8th round draft choice, off to a great start to his career for the Denver Broncos. Schrader flushed out. Down the sideline he goes at the 34-yard line. Now, Dan, you brought up a very interesting point when we were talking to Dan Reeves yesterday about Kenny Walker and the way things work for a defensive lineman to begin with.
Well, the thing about being a defensive lineman is every other position you have to communicate. Offensive linemen, they make calls. Cornerbacks talk to safeties. Linebackers talk to their outside, inside linebacker. Everyone has to communicate once the play's called and on the line of scrimmage. As a defensive lineman, if you had a place you could play a guy, that's the place for Kenny Walker. You only have to adjust to what is happening, the ball and who has it.
Kenny has been deaf since he was 2. He reads lips, and he also watches Wade Phillips on every play. With those signals coming in for Carl Mecklenburg, he takes them as well. 3rd and 3. Melvin Fernandez, can he break away from Braxton? Yes. Fernandez with a first down and then some. Some great moves in the secondary.
You know, Joe, we were talking at the half about how they had to stretch this defense. They throw one ball to Fernandez over the middle deep, and now look at all the things that open up. Here Fernandez gets up, runs a quick out hitch, getting the ball, makes a super move. That's the thing. If you can get those safeties back off the line of scrimmage, you can run. And then when you get them worried about that, then you throw over behind and throw the outs, the hitches. You've got to be able to stretch a defense to be effective.
1st and 10 for the Raiders, all the way down to the Broncos 17-yard line. This drive started back at the LA 10-yard line. Horton goes in motion. Misdirection give. Napoleon McCallum tries to take it back the other way. He is pounced on in the middle for a gain of maybe a yard to the 16-yard line. Carl Mecklenburg there. 2nd and 9 now. The Raiders have had the ball for the first 9 minutes of the 3rd quarter. Schrader throwing on 2nd and 9. The pocket holding up well. Wide over to the end zone. Touchdown, Willie Gault. They finally start putting the ball up into the air, and it pays off.
Here the protection holds up. Schrader can scan the field. No pressure. He doesn't have to look at anything except his receivers. Gault makes a real quick inside hit step, goes to the corner. Now that is what we were talking about, being able to get those receivers down deep.
Jaeger for the extra point. It almost looks like Henderson was looking for support from the safety in the corner of the end zone that never developed, and then all of a sudden out of the corner of the picture you could see hands spread out from the safety Dennis Smith. But no help that time for Henderson as the Raiders celebrate. Something to celebrate for the first time this afternoon. A 10-6 lead, their first lead over the Denver Broncos. Denver is ready to get it back. It'll be their first possession of the second half. 5:42 left in the 3rd quarter, and finally the Broncos are ready to get it back. 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. Ball for the first 9 minutes and 13 seconds of the second half. In fact, you go back to the midway point of the 2nd quarter, and Denver has had the ball for only 3 minutes offensively. Gaston Green in the 1st and 10 give, powering his way a little bit better than 3. And now the last thing the Broncos want to do is make the Raiders force their hand.
Well, the Broncos talked about how they want to get out and let Elway more or less do different things and be creative and try to keep the Raider defense off balance. There he went with a 2 tight end set, basically wanting to run right at the Raiders. We'll see what he does now with it. Looks like an eye set.
Only 11 yards rushing for the Denver Broncos after that 3-yard carry. It'll be play action, and over the middle it's complete to the tight end, Reggie Johnson, bowling his way out across the 35 to the 36-yard line, where he's met by Ricky Ellison. Tough one to bring down. Check that, not 89 but 88. Clarence Kay on the grab, the 8th-year pro from Georgia.
Well, you talk about how things set up other things. We just saw a run there. The offensive line can sell the run. Elway just pops back, throws it to the tight end right over the middle. Kay, knowing that the linebackers were worrying about the run, they've got their heads down, hitting into that offensive guard coming at them.
It isn't often you take a blow from Ronnie Lott and keep on moving. And now Reggie Johnson, who's back in there on the opposite side of Clarence Kay. A little bit early on the count to the 31. It'll be 1st and 15.
I'm gonna have to go back to college and figure out what they're calling.
High-tech information from Dick Hantak. Gaston Green breaking tackles out of the backfield nicely across the 35 to the 38-yard line. He gets 7 on the carry, tripped up by Scott Davis.
Green, more of a slashing type of a ball carrier inside. Here you'll see a great move in the hole. The left guard takes Scott Davis outside. He has to throw him. That's what we call a reach block. Just hit that outside shoulder, spear it, make that defensive lineman create a gap in the middle. Then you can be isolated on the linebacker. Good play.
2nd and 8. The ball at the 38. They're splitting offset to the left. Will Elway go up top? Yes. Townsend coming in. He rolls away from Greg Townsend. Unloads down the sideline, and it's almost intercepted by Eddie Anderson. He was looking for Gaston Green out of the backfield. And a different look that time for John Elway.
Well, they went with a nickel package. You'll see number 51, Aaron Wallace, come from the right of your screen. Kind of go inside, get lost in the trash there. Elway feels that, comes back, rolls, trying to get something quick and deep on him. Anderson gimped up this week. Bet he wishes he had another shot at that one.
John has missed his last 4 straight. Actually, hit 1 out of his last 4 as he's throwing deep downfield for Michael Young. Young trying to keep up with it. Great concentration, but it batted away by Terry McDaniel. So he hit that pass to Kay, but it's now 1 for his last 5 with flags down on the play. Will it go against the Broncos on 3rd and 8?
It looks like a holding call on the left tackle. Aaron Wallace turned the corner and looks like he was drugged down. Probably Hamilton, last gasp, trying to get a ride, bulldog him down before he spears Elway in the back.
We have offsetting penalties. We have holding on the offense. We have illegal use of the hand to the face on the defense. Penalties are offset. 3rd down.
A break for the Broncos and a go up by 10 now. Seahawks running away from the Jets in the 3rd quarter. Elway out of the shotgun on 3rd and 8. Perriman, the only one in the backfield to make it Sewell. Elway looking for Sewell. Complete for the 1st down. The old reliable one, Steve Sewell.
Last week, Sewell in the nickel pack.
Last year. Every one of the 1st downs for the Denver Broncos coming through the air. Gaston Green weaving his way out of the backfield. Almost broke that tackle of Eddie Anderson. Does a good job at the 40-yard line, getting 7 on that carry. Well, he's the home run threat. Dan Reeves told us yesterday.
Green, who was to think that Humphrey would hold out this long? Now Green has a chance to be the star.
Former 1st-round pick of the Rams back in '88. Green getting it once again and wrapped up in a hurry. Scott Davis getting to the running back, shedding the block in a hurry. No gain on the carry.
Everyone knows about Howie Long. Everyone has heard of Bob Golick. Townsend, but here number 70, Scott Davis, number 70, taking on Sean Farrell, shedding him like a rag doll, making the play. Davis has come on so quickly. The Raiders now feel like they can have the most dominant defensive line in the league if they stay healthy.
I thought you were big until I saw Davis in practice yesterday. 6'7", 280.
I'd carry his lunchbox. That guy's huge.
And with 3rd and 3 coming up, a timeout has been called.
Los Angeles.
The Raiders use their first of 3 in the 2nd half. We'll find out what the Broncos do when we return on 3rd and 3. The ball last week against the Cincinnati Bengals. It has not turned out that way so far today, though, with the LA Raiders leading by 4 with a minute 27 left in the 3rd quarter. In fact, Denver last week had 116 yards alone from Gaston Green. So far today, Green with only 25. The rest of the team a negative 1 yard. Now 3rd and 3. Elway will have to throw for it. He's got the man Sewell available, who can't hang on with a pass thrown behind him.
Scott Davis getting out on a stunt, making a little pressure for Elway to have to deal with. That is the thing about the Raider-Denver rivalry. They know each other so well. You'll see Davis here, number 70, running a long 3-man stunt, knowing that Elway tries to get outside in that floating pocket, buying a little extra time. The Raiders know him so well, the floating pocket is a non-factor.
Mike Horan in now to punt it away for Denver. As things fail to materialize on their first possession of the 2nd half, trailing by 4. Tim Brown waiting as he goes for the pooch, tries to get it to the corner, but it's in the middle of the field into the end zone. So when we return, LA will have it 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line with a 4-point lead over back. Minute 14 left in the third quarter. I thought it was interesting when Jay Schroeder told us yesterday, Dan, that he watched the entire game, the opener last year against the Denver Broncos, and it was a dismal day for him. The offensive unit did not score a touchdown, a 14-9 win for the LA Raiders with all the points coming for the defensive unit. But he said, essentially, they don't try to trick you defensively when you talk about the Denver Broncos. They've got good personnel. They use basically the same packages we saw last year.
And they swarm to the ball. They believe in getting a lot of helmets around the ball.
Napoleon McCallum, the running back, gets it on 1st and 10. He won't turn the corner. He broke a tackle. Did a good job. They get a couple of yards out of the 22, but not much help out in front. Michael Brooks making the hit. So the LA Raiders started their last drive at their own 10-yard line and took it 90 yards, culminating with a 16-yard pass for the score to Willie Gault. Now they start this drive at their own 20-yard line. Marcus Allen, of course, out for at least the next 4 weeks with ligament damage. So McCallum backing up Craig. Those two, the ones the Raiders are looking for over the next 4 weeks. Play action for Jay Schroeder on 2nd and 8, going for the bundle with Willie Gault. And Gault's got it. Inside the 35, down to the 30.
There and again, we talk about the Raider offense. How they like to talk about that vertical passing game, stretch that defense. Willie Gault on a curl is not the same as Willie Gault on a streak or a long post. This is what Willie Gault does best, probably as well as anyone in the league. And the thing is, with Fred Biletnikoff, he has been able to improve his concentration and look the ball in. Willie Gault is still one of the most feared receivers in the land.
Well, Dan Reeves last year is bothering him once again this year. 12 of 16 times they led at halftime, only to lose so many of those games. Roger Craig on the 1st and 10 carry into the secondary for a first down. Tracked down by Atwater at the 20-yard line.
Atwater made the tackle at about 10 yards. Now, remember the first half, Joel, he was making plays at the line of scrimmage. A one-to-one running back deep into the secondary. Here you see the Raiders do a great job with the counter trade. They're getting those big linemen out, knocking people around. Here Atwater, scared of that deep pass, scared of that streak by Gault, has to come up late. It's a 10-yard gain. That is what they talk about by stretching a defense.
You were talking about it at halftime when you said maybe the Raiders were too conservative. They opened it up to start the third quarter, and it paid off. Craig again. He is dragging tacklers inside the 20. Down to the 17-yard line. And for Roger Craig, that's his 22nd carry. And he has 79 yards in the trenches.
On that last play, I watched about 3 Denver players get up a little bit slow. See, that's the thing. If the Raiders can stay close, you're playing in their hands because they feel like they can beat you in the fourth quarter with just sheer muscle. For the Broncos to get something going again, they got to make a big play to get this thing stopped now.
2nd and 7 from the 17. Let's remind you, they only have 4 down linemen dressed. So the Raiders trying to wear them out on the offensive front. Underthrown for Steve Smith, but give all the credit. The big Warren Powers rushing Jay Schroeder effectively.
We talked about how Schroeder in the pocket, making smart decisions, is as effective as any quarterback in the league. But if you make him move around a little bit, or you pressure him a little bit, maybe not as good as what you would like. So here's the thing. If they can keep Jay Schroeder a little off balance, make him move out of the pocket here and there, they've got a lot better chance of getting this thing stopped. But if they let him stay in the pocket, the defensive lineman getting tired, unable to pressure him, Schroeder could still pick him apart.
And we saw Schroeder make a poor decision on 3rd and goal from the 13 when he threw the ball to the 8-yard line because he was on the run. He never really looked into the end zone. That was in the first half. Now he's throwing on 3rd and 7 from the 17. What a grab. Down around the 10. Inside the 10 for the first down. It's taken in by Tim Brown on a ball that was a bit underthrown.
Possibly this ball was tipped. A lot of times you see a defensive lineman get tired, he'll get his hands up, maybe tip it. Great catch by Brown. You know, looks like he's holding that trophy there, Joel. I tell you what, he's got some killer hands. We watched in pregame how he's got such soft hands. And Biletnikoff, the wide receiver coach, is very, very encouraged by the way he's come back from that knee.
That was Tim Brown's first reception, and I believe they're going upstairs. The replay official to find out.
Being reviewed by instant replay.
Well, that first look, it looked like a good grab for Tim Brown, getting under the ball in the scoop.
Look good to me.
Royal Cathcart is the replay official. And psychologically, they were telling us yesterday, Art Shell in particular, that Tim Brown is all the way back now. Physically, they felt he was back right when he returned early last year, but he had to get the mental aspect going in his direction. Does he have it? It looks like a good grab from that angle. The opposite side would be a lot easier to determine.
After further review, play stands as called.
Good scoop.
Pass, first down.
So the Heisman Trophy winner, 1989.
First and goal at the 8.
Actually, 1987 making the grab. Al Davis looking on with his team up by 4. Steve Smith, they're full of a back. Up close to the 5-yard line on first and goal.
Talking about Al Davis, he's very excited about Nick Bell, the big 260-pound fullback, halfback, whatever that they have that's on injured reserve. Won't be off for maybe 3 weeks, but see, what he likes is to have a guy like Roger Craig or Marcus Allen be the one punch, and then when defenses are tired, trying to get a little, maybe getting a little sloppy arm tackling, bring a guy like Bell in down here inside the 10-yard line. Pound on him, pound on him. That's the way he believes offense should be played.
Second and goal from the 5. Raiders lead it 10-6. Craig trying to get outside, gets a good block, turns the corner, flags down to the play, and Craig is down just short of the goal line. But a flag down where you normally see a holding call.
Looks like Horton.
Holding. Offense, number 88, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. Second down.
Back in the third quarter, we saw Roger Craig turn the corner. Now, usually against the Bronco defense, someone has been blocked or you're holding them. They're too fast. They swarm too well.
Let's not forget, leading by 4 with a little bit under 12 minutes left. If the Broncos can hold the Raiders to 3, then it only takes a touchdown to tie it. If the Raiders come up with 7, though, all of a sudden it's 2 scores for the Denver Broncos that they've got to come up with. Second and goal. The ball back at the 16-yard line. Clock is moving. 11:45 left in the fourth quarter. Pocket holding up well. Now it collapses. A fumble. Powers after it. Did he get it? It looks like L.A. maintains possession. Yes, back at the 22. Warren Powers very close to the ball.
Well, the guy that makes the play is number 90, right in front of you. Here, getting upfield, slapping the big tackle out of the way, Graves, going inside. Now, that's as an offensive lineman, that's the last thing you want, is to let a guy get inside and take a shot on your quarterback.
So it's a sack, the fumble recovery. As Fletcher slapped that ball away. And now third and goal from back outside of the 22. The pass intercepted. Intercepted by the Broncos back at the 2-yard line. And coming up with the pick. It was the extra defensive back in there, Charles Dimry. That's exactly what Wade Phillips was telling us before the start of the play today. Down in the Denver locker room, as there is a penalty against the Broncos. It'll nullify that interception, but he liked the depth that Dimry gave them.
Well, it looks like the sack by Holmes has created something for the Broncos. Penalty probably will give the Raiders another shot at him.
Schrader throwing into double coverage. And the Broncos can't believe it.
We used to talk in the huddle about after we get a sack or after we get a good shot on a quarterback, how the defensive backs.
Illegal use of the hands. Number 73 on the defense, hands to the face. That is 5 yards and a first down. The foul occurred prior
to the change of possession.
Foul occurred prior to the interception. We then had unsportsmanlike act on the defense. On Denver throwing their helmet to the ground, we will penalize half the distance to the goal line. First down.
Did you get that, Joel? We need to get a tablet out. That was an amazing change of events. This Fletcher, number 73, well, the thing is, Fletcher gets his hands up into Steve Wright, the offensive tackle's face. Well, they call that. Then when Demery does pick the ball off, unfortunately, when he sees the penalty flag down and it's against him, in frustration, he slams his helmet down. That's the demonstration penalty.
So now it's 1st and goal for the Raiders. Instead, the Broncos taking over at their own 2-yard line. It's now the 9 for L.A. Napoleon McCallum weaving his way through traffic to the 5. Stacked up at the 4. Jim Lucas in the stop for the Broncos. What a change of fortunes in a big hurry. So now they still want to hold L.A. to only 3, making it a 7-point margin.
With the big sack a few plays ago by Holmes, you thought that Denver was on the way, but some costly mistakes here.
Smith in front of Napoleon McCallum once again. McCallum gets the call, trying to go to the outside, takes it inside, down to the 1. He is a large running back at 6'2", 225.
Well, number 77, Carl Mecklenburg, tries to run through on this play. Now, when we say run through, you'll see the linebacker try to just run behind the block. See there on Wisniewski, but a little late in the game, a little tired, slips, doesn't turn the corner. Back's able to make 5-6 yards on it. When you run through, the coaches used to say, you better get there.
So 3rd and goal at the 1-yard line. Steve Wright has been announced as an extra tight end, the regular right tackle for the Raiders, as they go with a 3 tight end alignment. McCallum and Smith in the backfield. Smith this time. Is he in? Yes, touchdown Raiders. There is a flag down in the play, though. A flag down around the 7-yard line. Does it go against Los Angeles? Yes, I can tell by the reaction of Jay Schrader.
We have illegal procedure against the offense. Number 66 reported as an eligible receiver. Number 87 lined up on the line of scrimmage, making him ineligible. We have a 5-yard penalty, and repeat the down, 3rd down.
So Steve Wright came in. Andrew Glover was obviously lined up improperly.
You've got to have the man on at the end of the line of scrimmage on the weak side off the line. He lines up on it. Very, very costly. The thing about the Raiders, though, is they are starting to wear down the Broncos. You can just see it. The Broncos are slow getting up.
3rd and goal now back at the 6, and Schrader uses another timeout. So L.A. only has 1 remaining with still 9:24 left. Costly penalty to Jay Schrader in the Raiders offense, but they have taken over on the line of scrimmage. You can see what happened in the first half, time of possession. Well, a completely different story in the second half is now you combine the first 3 quarters plus the Raiders with the ball better than 31 minutes. So early in the second quarter, the Raiders started to control the ball, and it's continued all the way through the 3rd and early portion of the 4th. Now, 3rd and goal from the 6. Schrader on the timing pattern into the corner for Galt, and he's out of bounds. And actually, Mervin Fernandez was out of bounds. Defending Charles Demery. And they will have to settle for 3 if they can come up with 3, as Jager's already missed 1 today.
Well, Fernandez is a guy they like to go on the timing pattern. He's 6'3". He jumps so well, and he's got good hands. There you can see how close they are to scoring.
So Jager missed on that field goal try just before the end of the first half. A 32-yard try. This will be a 23-yard attempt. Trying to put the Raiders up by 7. It's out of the hold of Jeff Gossett, the punter. The exchange is a clean one, and the kick perfect. So somewhat of a moral victory for the Denver defense. They force the Raiders to settle for 3, and Denver is down by 7. Goal, Jeff Jaeger, and now lead the Broncos by 7. Very close affair once again in the fourth quarter at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. Joel Myers along with Dan Hampton. 9:17 left in regulation. And Dan, an interesting scenario coming up for John Elway and the Denver Broncos. They dominated the Cincinnati Bengals in the opener last week, scoring 45 points in a cakewalk. But all of a sudden, a different situation. We'll get to that right after the kickoff as Alton Montgomery is back deep along with Derek Russell. Let's see if they have better communication than we saw the last time it was kicked away by Jeff Jaeger. This time it'll be Montgomery by himself from the 6-yard line. And the Raiders swarm into the ball as he can't even get back to the 10. Flag down. Will it be a face mask penalty on the tackle? Steve Smith, one of the first ones down there.
You know, when Dan Reeves more or less turned the keys over to Elway, he really felt like this was something that would be great for the entire club. If John's excited, the whole club is. And, you know, they played so well.
Face mask on the kicking team, 5 yards, first down.
As I was saying, last week they played so well with Elway at the controls. You know, we talked to him yesterday, Joel, and he said how he kind of gets this gut feeling about the personnel and the play that he wants to call. Well,
will he second-guess that gut decision after he gets up to the line? You can see the difference. The Broncos, this is only their second possession of the entire second half. Over the middle, it's complete to Perryman, and he's got a first down to the 25-yard line. We'll be right back to the Coliseum in Los Angeles, but first, an update with Bob Costas. Thank you, Bob. It's 1st and 10. Elway on the play action, has time and has a man. It's complete. Close to the 40-yard line. Another first down. Mark Jackson on the reception of 15 yards. So 2 quick passes by John Elway.
Well, as we were talking about the fact that Elway feels these things in his gut, what he thinks will work. He sees the defensive personnel, then he comes back with his own. Here, Jackson just clearing out across the middle. Ronnie Lott, the super safety for Frisco for many years, maybe not as quick as he once was. They try to sneak up underneath him.
So Denver has it, 1st and 10. This drive started back at their own 13-yard line. They're now at their own 40. Flags up into the air. Dead ball foul coming up on Denver.
Well, it looks like Townsend jumped first, and then Hamilton, Townsend will jump, drawing Hamilton into a pass blocking position, jumping early. So
on the offense prior to the
Near Waddell, Karts, Sean Farrell, Darrell Hamilton, a 300-pounder. 1st and 15 now for Elway and the Broncos, their own 35-yard line. Delay to Gaston Green. He stumbles as he gets out of the backfield. No gain on that carry. 2-0, the Chicago Bears. Miami even at 1-1 with their win today. We'll come back with more scores on the 10-minute ticker. After the 2nd and 15 play for the Broncos from their own 35. Elway in trouble on his way down. Tom Benson swarming there. Great Townsend forced him to the inside, though.
We talked about how they had a spies program set up early with Winston Moss. Now they've taken Townsend, put him on the line. 51 at the top of your screen will try to get up. He comes back underneath. Here Townsend gets upfield. Elway, not seeing anything at first, thinks he can try to get up, buy some time. The Raider lineman too quick, collapse on him.
Critical 3rd down as you see other finals around the NFL, because now there's under 7 minutes left in the 4th. Broncos are down by 7. And this is 3rd and 17 after the sack. Elway moving the pocket, has plenty of time, wants to go back the other way, and overthrows Mark Jackson. Jackson coming back to the quarterback when Elway thought he was going to start towards the sideline.
As we talked earlier about the moving pocket, see, Elway is one of those guys, almost a hybrid quarterback that if you could build one, that's the guy. He's big, he's strong, he's mobile, and he can throw on the run. Getting out to his left there in a moving pocket, trying to buy some time, he couldn't uncover anyone. Speaking of moving pockets, I used to have an account with one of those, Joe.
6.5 minutes left in the 4th. Mike Duran ready to punt it away and barely gets it away. It goes off the side of his foot as it hits David Treadwell, the place kicker on the Denver bench. So a poor punt And when we come back, the Raiders have it at the Denver 49. Denver punter Mike Horan really felt the pressure on that last one, only came up with a 16-yarder. As there's 6:26 left in the contest, the Raiders lead it by 7, and in turn, Dan, he has put pressure on that defense that's been on the field the entire second half.
They're small and they need some rest.
Roger Craig on the carry. He scoots under a tackle inside the 45. Gets about 4 on the carry. Now, any more than a first down, and they can barely afford to give up even a first down with the clock moving. And they're close to Jeff Jaeger territory. Yards on the ground, a big difference, and that's the way the Raiders have been able to take over the trenches and control the ball.
Well, the first half they were pretty ineffective in anything they wanted to do, but in the third you saw how that one pass, stretching the defense, has opened up Pandora's box. Schrader feels no pressure. He's getting good chunks of yardage with his ground game. He can throw at will.
5 minutes, 45 seconds left in counting. 2nd and 6 from the 45. The Broncos do have all 3 timeouts remaining. Roger Craig on the carry over to the right side. He gets 4. So he's 2 short of the first down, and a huge third down coming up for the Denver Broncos defensive front 7, because you know what the Raiders want to do. They want to keep pounding the ball and keep the clock running. They don't want to put it up in the air with Jay Schrader for the potential of an incompletion.
Well, Mecklenburg here knows that he's going to have to get up force, kind of shields off his blocker, the offensive guard, maybe overruns a little bit. Now, early in the game, it's easy to get your instincts and everything and get that target, put that head in the middle of those shoulder pads. Late in the game, you're a little tired, you get a little sloppy.
3rd and 2. Craig has 87 yards now on 24 carries. Schrader is throwing. He's looking for Smith, who's got it, and he gets the first down. He's knocked out of bounds by Jeff Mills, but a little bit too late. As we head back to Bob Costas for an NFL Live update. Just like Stephon Edberg, the Denver Broncos being slammed in straight sets in the second half by the LA Raiders as Roger Craig pounds it to the outside. Good yardage on 1st and 10 from the 37 down to the 31. A carry of 6 yards.
Craig coming out of what we call a Brown formation. He had that big fullback up there to lead on the corner. Here he just runs away from the linebackers. There Mecklenburg. Raiders are sticking to their knitting. Now the Broncos will be expecting run every down. Look for Schrader to come up with something cheap and deep down the middle for a quick strike.
It's tough to win games when you've only had the ball twice in the entire second half, and that's the story right now for the Denver Broncos. 2nd and 4. The ball at the 31 of the Denver Broncos. Schrader on the quick one. He's got his receiver Galt for a first down to the 25, and he stays in bounds.
We're talking with Wade Phillips yesterday. He said for our defense to be effective, we've got to be able to get turnovers, get them stopped. Don't let them keep us on the field all day. Exactly the opposite. No turnovers, and they're out there the entire third quarter. Here Galt runs a quick hitch, just goes down the field, turns around, gets the ball. Those corners have got to respect his speed. They get back off of him. That's almost a given with Willie.
1st and 10 at the 25. Well within range of Jeff Jaeger now. If they were to try a field goal from there, it'd be about a 42, 43-yard attempt.
Unless they call a timeout, Joel.
4 minutes remaining to the contest. Craig gets the call and finds a hole over to the right side. That middle threesome has been sensational. Wisniewski, Mosbar, and Montoya, the 2 guards in center for the Raiders.
Well, here Craig in the nose guard takes on Mosbar, the center. There, Craig loses a battle. Now, the huge Mosbar, the Montoyas, the Wisniewskis are starting just to wear those defensive players down. You've got to exert an awful lot of physical energy each time the ball is snapped, and by the end of 50, 60, 70 plays, you're spent. It's hard to get something going.
Long day for the defensive front. Since midway through the second quarter, it seems like they've been on the field the entire way for Denver. 3:15 and running. Remaining in the 4th, 2nd and 5. Ball just outside of the 20. Craig now with 98 yards on the ground. This time Steve Smith tripped up, crossing the line of the 20. Falls forward for a couple to the 18. And now Denver will use their first timeout of the second half.
Denver, their first timeout. This is a 40-second.
What happened last year occurred. They didn't get any turnovers on defense for the Broncos. The Raiders are able to control the clock and kind of pound on them. Now, the thing is, the Raiders in today's game have succeeded in their game plan. Denver has not.
Raiders, of course, with the first place schedule after that 12-4 season last year, losing in the AFC title game decisively to the Bills. Much tougher, as you can see Buffalo there, and then closing out with a game at New Orleans and Kansas City within their own division. 3rd and 3. Can they punch it inside the 15 with Roger Craig carrying the load? Craig tied up, doesn't get there. I think it was Carlo Mecklenburg, big number 77, who stopped him on 3rd and short.
A long time ago, Mecklenburg's name was the Snow Goose. Here you'll see him. We talked about running through. There he takes on the offensive tackle, butts under him, and just hangs on.
This is a 40-second timeout.
That was James Fitzpatrick, the right tackle, subbing for Steve Wright on that play. The could not fend off Carl Mecklenburg. So another timeout for the Denver Broncos. They've got 2 for 3 on the afternoon. He missed a 32-yarder. He hit a 23-yarder and also a 29-yarder. This will be an attempt of 34 yards. It's out of the hold of Jeff Gossett, the punter. And they've got that cushion they were looking for. So now a 10-point advantage for the Los Angeles Raiders. And all the Broncos can hope for is a quick touchdown and an onside kick with only 1 timeout remaining.
Well, although the Broncos defense has been playing pretty well, they haven't got the ball for the offense. The Raiders defense has more or less dominated this game. They have not given Elway a chance to get that offense out of track, out of gear, whatever. That's the story. The Raiders defense has been awesome today.
Don't forget, and again, the offense sparked by the big plays from the defense.
That and the fact Schrader really didn't force any bad plays upon himself. Played
Montgomery will bring it back from the 13-yard line. They needed a big return. Montgomery staying alive past the 25. Falls forward across the 30 with the help of one of those big linemen behind him. So now, in this quick strike attack of John Elway come through. 36 seconds left before the 2-minute warning. No doubt what he's going to do. Let's see if they exclusively go to the 4 wide receiver alignment that hasn't posed that many problems for the Los Angeles Raiders today, even though it posed so many problems for them last week. And I'm kind of surprised, Dan, we didn't see more of the 4 wide out set.
Well, that's the way they've really got Cincinnati off balance. They haven't been able to do it with the Raiders.
Elway in trouble. He's going to run it. And sliding across the 41. He'll be spotted right down at the 41-yard line. Those late scores on the ITT 10-minute ticker. San Francisco up by 17 now for the Chargers. And a 20-6 lead for the Seattle Seahawks. What a difficult week it's been for the San Diego Chargers, firing their offensive coordinator and assistant head coach Ted Tolder. Elway had the ball batted back and wisely batted it down. So it'll be second and just about a yard once again, and Townsend there.
You know, you talk about the Raiders being an old football team. They were the oldest team in the league last year. But they've got a bunch of old war horses. Howie Long, Jerry Robinson, Townsend's getting some age, but they're still so good late in the game.
Elway on the sneak has the first down, but a flag is down on the play. Did somebody move too quickly for Denver? No, it'll go against LA.
Delay. 12 men on the field for the defense. 5 yards. First down.
So the penalty stops the clock with 2:03 remaining. That's Dave Adolph, the defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Raiders. His team has really come all the way back from 47 points scored against them last week by the run and shoot of Warren Moon.
Well, that and the loss in Buffalo, I think they've answered an awful lot of questions today.
Last play before the 2-minute warning. Elway looking for help. He looks for the running back who's in for the first time, Reggie Rivers, the rookie from Southwest Texas, in and out of his hands. Wouldn't have gone for much anywhere. We'll be right back with the final minute 54 at the Coliseum. After the minute 54 seconds left in the fourth quarter, the Broncos down by 10, 16-6, 1 timeout remaining for John Elway. 2nd and 10. Elway in trouble. Townsend got him. And then cleaning up after Townsend got him around the pads, Anthony Smith, their first-round draft choice of last year, who missed the entire season with an injury.
Late in the game, Elway having to take time to see the field develop. Townsend playing a Townsend playing an excellent, excellent game today, breaking the pocket down time and time again. There, Smith comes around and finishes the play off, but Howie Long, Townsend, Scott Davis, those guys are the ones that have just been controlling the line of scrimmage, creating all the problems for Elway, making him get out of the pocket, cutting down the time to see the field. The Raider defensive front controlled this game, and that's what Howie Long said to us, Joel. He said, hey, last week we were a non-factor. This week we've got to be the story.
I remember your response when Howie Long asked you, do you miss it?
Yeah, I said, yeah, sure. You miss a train wreck? You know, it was a lot of fun, but it's beyond me now. That guy right there, he was on the Pro Football Writers Association Team of the Decade, and he truly is a terrific football player. And last week he was asked to do some different things and more or less just try to control the line. This week he was able to rush the passer, and Howie Longs will have a smile on his face come Wednesday.
Felt like a dancing bear in the circus last week. Really couldn't rush the passer. And now, last chance, 3rd and long, Elway going out.
Winston Moss on the spy.
The spy stayed at home until he saw Elway run out of room.
Well, Don Knotts would be very proud of this play. Moss having the speed and the range to be able to close on Elway. Elway's one of the fastest guys in the league at quarterback. Here you'll see trying that floating pocket, that sliding pocket. There Moss just tracks him down, never giving him a chance to set, plant, and look at the receivers.
So now it's 4th and forever, just outside of the 30-yard line. Clock stops, 1:43 left. They've got to take it inside the Raider 44 to pick up the first down. So call it 4th and 25. Pressure again, Townsend. Elway in trouble, breaks the containment. The pass way too short to Sewell, though. Does he stay in bounds? Yes, he does. Does he get the first down? Yes, he does. Inside the 40. Down to the 37. Do you believe it?
I wonder if John Elway felt that play in his gut when he called it.
I don't think Sewell was the primary.
Unbelievable.
They're out of timeouts. They've got to hurry. Clock moving, 1:10 remaining. Snap a low, and Elway comes away with it, though. And it's batted down. Trying to go for Mark Jackson at about the 28-yard line. Greg Townsend got a piece of it. But at least it stops the clock.
Townsend pretty tired after that last play, having to chase Elway some 30, 40 yards, trying to get him down. But even if you're a good defensive, even if you can't get to the quarterback, you can do some different things. There, more or less bull rushing the tackle back into the pocket. Then watching Elway's eyes. When Elway spots a receiver, getting your hands between the receiver and the quarterback.
They need 6 in a hurry. 64 seconds left. Pressure again coming from Townsend. And it's thrown behind the intended target. Steve Sewell wanted to take it, head for the sideline. So now it brings up a 3rd and 10 from the 37 with 59 ticks left on the clock.
Well, Joel, Ken Lanier, the right tackle for the Denver Broncos, I always thought he was one of the finer offensive tackles that I would play against. Today, he hasn't been what he normally is. Townsend, Howie Long, different players have went by him. He's not getting the job done, giving Elway enough time to see the field. It's a hard job when they know you're going to pass block, but still, he's got to find a way to get it done.
3rd and 10. Pressure again on Elway up the middle. Over the middle, it's batted away by Torin Dorn.
Once again, Townsend on an inside rush, right into the face of Elway. Lanier not able to get him stopped. Elway has to get out to the right, force something in the middle. Now, as a receiver, at this stage in the game, they know the defensive backs are going to be in a deep 4 zone. They're just going to run a bunch of quick curls, a hitch, if you will. There, the cornerbacks playing smart, figured that's what Elway would go to.
Last chance for the Broncos at Elway. 53 seconds left. 4th and 10 from the 37. Looking for Mark Jackson deep. He got away from Dorn. It's complete. Inside the 5 to the 3. But the Broncos running out of time and the clock is moving. 34 yards on the reception by Jackson.
Dorn on the coverage.
One of the Raiders kicked the football. The officials had to stop the clock. The bad boys are back.
Raiders use their final timeout. They're up by 10. And it's 1st and goal down at the 3-yard line as we look back on the reception by Jackson.
There, Washington getting a little bit cute, gets lulled asleep. No, 46.
Torn
Dorn gets lulled asleep a little bit, trying to play on his hip pocket for the quick curl. Jackson just runs a streak to the corner. There, Dorn just a half stride off. Perfect throw by Elway. Nice reception. Polls last season. They wanted to get some air, get those big linemen ready to stop the run.
Sewell, the only one in the backfield. Elway throwing on 1st and goal. Wallace coming from the backside. It's complete to Sewell. Touchdown, Denver. With 25 seconds left. Well, at least we'll get a chance to see that onside kick. A 3-yard pass to Steve Sewell.
Elway getting outside the pocket. Receiver just running away from the safety, Anderson. Can't run it any better than that, folks. Anderson having a bad groin this week. Maybe not able to close as quickly as he'd like.
Treadwell with the point after. And it is a 3-point game. With 25 seconds left, the difference in the contest right now, that 34-yard field goal by Jeff Jaeger. And that was after the 16-yard punt by Mike Horan. So the special teams have not helped out the Denver Broncos all day long. We've seen the two deep backs run into each other, have problems on just about every kickoff return, getting it past the 15 or 20-yard line as we. They're all lined up to the left for the onside kick from Treadwell. And here it comes. It goes 10 yards. Can they keep it in bounds? No. It rolls out of bounds. It was the ultimate, though, if you're a Denver Bronco. You had a chance for the ball.
Well, you know, you practice this play all the time, all through camp, all through practice. That was executed perfectly, except they didn't get the ball. Treadwell.
You can see Atwater trying to bat it up inbounds.
I don't think I've ever seen one actually executed better and not get the football. Atwater had a chance, just a little out of his reach.
And of course the Raiders trying to bat it out of bounds. Clock never starts until there is possession. There was no possession, so still 25 seconds left. It seems like whoever wins the first game in the season series between these two wins goes on for the sweep since Dan Reeves took over in 1981. Only once have these two teams split the season series. So what a big edge for the LA Raiders, knowing they've got one up. They swept them, taking that last game in Denver last year 23-20 after winning here 14-9.
There is no foul on the play. We had a legal touching by the kicking team beyond 10 yards. The ball was then touched by the receiving team prior to going out of bounds. It is the receiving team ball at the spot of out of bounds. First down.
Dan Reeves wanted another crack at it. And wants Dick Hantak to come over.
He's saying that if our guys touch it and it goes out of bounds, then we re-kick. It's our fault. The officials are contending that the Raiders touched it before it went out of bounds. Reeves is saying no.
It did look like after Atwater got his hands on the ball, though, there was a Raider at the bottom that was forcing it out of bounds.
Well, if that's true, then it's Raider ball at the point touched.
And one last look.
Okay, that's Fernandez.
Look at the bottom of the screen.
It is off of the Broncos' foot. Reeves is right. He's continuing.
And the play is being reviewed now. Royal Cathcart, the replay official.
He is contending that we have to re-kick. Give us one more shot. Put another bullet in the chamber. Okay. There wasn't enough, I guess, evidence to overturn it, but Reeves really felt like it was a chance to get another play.
Well, the Denver offense was really never on the field in the second half of play. That was the difference in the contest. The Raiders controlled the trenches, pounded the ball effectively, and then started to find Fernandez and Galt.
Well, it wasn't so much the fact that Elway didn't develop his offense and do the things that he wanted to do. It was more or less he never had a chance, Joel, and you've got to take your hat off to the Raiders. Their defense played so well today. After getting blown out so badly last week, they showed up tough.
Well, coming in 9 of the last 13 between these two have been decided by 3 or less, and true to form, make it 10 out of the last 14 decided by 3 or less. These two, of course, getting ready for a matchup later in the season at Mile High Stadium in Denver. But I think it's safe to say it is going to be a completely different story this year for the Denver Broncos as opposed to last season when they were 5-11.